Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Root.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, the Bachelorette Recap, Season 20, Episode 5, Mardi Gras Bachelorette. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
I knew you'd bring that up because you just love New Orleans, huh?
I love Mardi Gras. I love New Orleans. That's where my family's from. So
you were happy to see that this is where they were doing the episode, huh?
I was. I didn't see them go to my favorite restaurant in New Orleans, the one that has the char-grilled oysters. Mm-hmm. But I like New Orleans, and just some of the things that they did, I've done. So I was like, oh, okay, this is dope. I'm familiar with some of this stuff.
And apparently, I know you liked the fact that they were eating what is that? What is that cockroach of the sea of the lake, the sea?
Crawfish.
They were eating. Yeah.
Yeah, crawfish look good. Although didn't look like that dude washed his hands when he dumped the basket, but that's neither here nor there. Crawfish, Louisiana crawfish is delicious.
All right, so the team is in Louisiana, all to try to win the arm and the love of the lovely Miss Charity. And, you know, they're all sitting down with drinks, and then she shows up. The carriage pulls up, and all of a sudden they automatically just know that this thing is for them, right? Like, oh, like it's the only horse-drawn carriage in New Orleans, so they know it has to be for them. Is this what it's like in New Orleans? Because when I went, I really didn't get around New Orleans very much, but and it was a long time ago, so I don't remember. Is there only one?
No, there's not only one. But I'll be honest, I thought it was like all of them were going to be going on this carriage with her, because I was like, wonder how many of that seats. Yeah, I'm like, it's going to be tight. I wonder how many of that seats. And so she surprised us to say that there was actually a date scheduled, and she picked Joey.
You know, the thing about it, she picked Joey out of this group of 6, because there's 6 guys left, right? And you notice there's a perfect balance here. It's 3 black guys. There's 3 white guys. She's got it. And so the interesting thing about her picking Joey is Tanner is all in his feelings to begin this whole episode. He feels overlooked. He wants his one-on-one time, and it doesn't matter because she picks Joey. They jump on the carriage and they begin their date. And you know, it really wasn't much in this date. They had the on-the-spot poem cute, but it was dinner that I thought they really got. And she's been saying this is the time before she decides who she goes home with and whose hometown she goes to and whose family she gets to meet, right? Mm-hmm. She wants to have deeper conversations. And the deeper conversation started with Joey when it came down to interracial dating. She said it was a problem for her in previous relationships, to which none of us went, really? We're shocked. But it was...
We haven't had problems doing interracial dating in our lives. It's just been awesome.
It's the greatest thing ever. Nobody cares. Not in 2020, whatever. Look, Joey, come to find out, has never dated a black woman before either. But he has faith in his family. They're going to be fine.
Well, I mean, you got to also keep in mind that his dad is gay. Mm-hmm. And that's why his parents divorced.
Right.
And so I think that his family, just through that, they're probably pretty open-minded. Mm-hmm. I haven't come across a gay racist, you know, in my lifetime yet. I haven't come across that. But not to say it's not possible, but I just feel like maybe because of what he went through when his parents divorced, right, and the fact that his parents divorced amicably and both parents were still involved, even though the dad, you know, came out as gay, I feel like maybe they're more open. You know, a little bit more open-minded.
Or the mom could be like, first your daddy comes home with a man, and now you come home with this black woman.
I doubt it. I really think his family is going to be a lot more open-minded than what Charity might be concerned with or what she's dealt with before. I just feel like they're going to be a little bit more open. And all my interactions experience with LGBTQ plus community have all been amazing and positive. I got some amazing friends, coworkers, so on and so forth. I don't think it's going to be an issue, to be honest.
Now, here's the thing. One of the things that Charity was talking about that was the issue for her in previous relationships was the fact that, she has these trials and tribulations as a black woman, one, but then also whenever they were out, the way people viewed them, and her partner just didn't have that awareness and didn't seem to care because he was living in his world and was fine and just like, oh, whatever. And that's the thing. Is that because her thing then was she needs somebody who's going to learn and be aware and learn her ways and learn what it means to be in an interracial relationship in order for it to work.
Here's where I disagree with Charity on that.
I knew you would somewhere in here.
Thank you. I feel like that's Charity's issue. Mm-hmm. That's not Joey's. So I've been in those relationships where I feel like this person I'm dating who's not black, mm-hmm. they're just like, yeah, everything is great. I'm like, you didn't see these people looking? You didn't see that table 5 staring at me like that? But that's a me issue. That's not on them. And what do I expect them to do? So I feel like that's more of a Charity thing. I understand where she's coming from, and we've all been there. But I don't think that's fair for her to put that on any non-person of color that she would date, to say that's their responsibility to understand that. They never will. They'll never understand. They might get the fact that, hey, yeah, we get looks, but they're not paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. You look at my dad taught me, when you're walking down the street, you see another black man, you speak. Mm-hmm. And so another black man walks by, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, sir, how you doing? And I've dated people who are like, do you know him? I'm like, no. It's just, that's what I was taught.
Yes, we all know each other.
That's what I was taught to do. It's just when I see, my dad raised me to mm-hmm. do that. And I still do it to this day. I'd be in the grocery store and all different races of people pass by. A black guy passes by. I'm like, what's up, brother? Mm-hmm. And I just keep on moving. That's just what the heads up or the head down, whatever one you choose. Mm-hmm. I do that. But I mean, I don't think that's Joey's responsibility to learn to understand it. I feel like that's Charity's issue.
Okay, 2 things. 1, do you ever say what's up to somebody, don't respond? What's your immediate reaction? Because mine is just that, oh, well, I'm doing great too. Thanks for asking.
Nope. I don't say anything. I'm just like, oh, well, they didn't say anything. At least I did my part. I did what my dad raised me to do, and I keep it moving.
Okay,
so
just making sure.
I don't like go back and be like, excuse me, I said, what's up, brother?
So
did you not see me do this?
Did you not see the international black head nod?
I gave you one of these.
It's just me. Okay,
that's least fine. You can do is just hit me back with a and that's it.
Or if you're just feeling a little sassy, just give me the eye roll.
Something.
Yes, Blake, I am very petty. I do it in the office, everywhere. And it doesn't even have to be just somebody black. If I'm walking by, we passing each other in the hallway. Hey, good morning. Oh, well, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Glad to hear that. Just because because it's common courtesy. I'm sorry. But
y'all need his attention. That's what that boils down to.
I don't need attention.
You don't see me?
Look, man, I was an only child for 12 and a half years. I am perfectly fine being by myself. Okay? Perfectly fine.
When you're an only child, you get all the attention on you, and that's what you're lacking. And so when you're out and you say good morning, someone doesn't speak, your inner only child kicks in and it's like, did you not see me? Do you not recognize and validate my existence?
I said just good morning. Me. Look, see, Jay Blake does it too. See,
no, but don't feed into his ego, Jay Blake. Come on.
You just hate that anybody agrees with me. That's all.
I do.
Now look, the fact that you're saying, I just want to get back to this conversation real quick with Charity and Joey, right? Because you're saying that's more on her, but isn't it also on the other partner to be aware of the surroundings? I mean, at the same time, just to understand these things that are happening around and be aware of them, right?
I get where you're going with that. And it's one thing to be observant, but again, it's not the world that you lived in all your life. I've dated many different races of women. And I remember, God, this was probably back in the mid-90s. I dated this white girl in San Antonio, and she was just like, well, but I don't see racism. And I'm like, of course you don't. But it's there, but she doesn't see it. But I would expect her to go looking for it. And
Right.
I told her, I said, well, here's the difference. If we go to, at that time when I was going to church, if I brought you to my black church, you would feel some racism. If I brought you to the black club in San Antonio, you would feel some racism.
The one black club is go ahead. Continue.
Exactly, right? So it's like you would feel it. But I think you shouldn't be going out looking for it all the time. I think anyone that's not black that's going to date Charity has to understand that that's something she's going to be thinking about.
Right.
But I think for Charity, all I'm saying is that shouldn't be the only thing you expect them to think about. Like, yeah, great, maybe, but don't put all that pressure on them that they have to understand the black experience because they never will.
It's not, and I don't think it's the pressure to that's the only thing. But yeah, it is something because it's, and I agree with you in that part. It shouldn't be the only thing and the one thing that always stands out, but it's gonna be there because people are gonna give those looks anyway, right? And it's just being aware of it because, but you also can't, to your point, you can't feed into all of it all the time. But if you have blinders on and you never see it, you're gonna miss it when you're just like, it's blatant. You're gonna tell me like there are things that you'll see, and you just go, wait a minute. Oh,
yeah, I mean, you'll see, but you just gotta be able to let it go. No. You know what I mean? It's like if I go if I'm in the mall or a nice store, I can't walk in there with the mindset, look at her, she's looking at me. Well, I'm the only one in here. That's why she's looking at me. She's not looking at me just because I'm black. But, you know, that can't be the only thing. But I do think it's a good conversation for her to have to say, hey, how would your family feel when you bring me home? Mm-hmm. And do you think that's going to be okay? Which I feel it's going to be fine. Is there things Joey's going to have to learn to try to understand her?
Yeah.
Sure. You know, but I think that it's a good conversation to have, but I think Charity has to be able to let that go.
Like, why do you put so much gel right here?
If he's dating a girl that does that, because I don't even do that. I'm like, wait, is that luster pink lotion that you're putting? And you gotta, this toothbrush is not for your teeth, it's for your baby hairs? Yeah, no.
And first of all, what is baby hair?
Sorry.
I want to be there for those conversations.
Trying to explain. Let me tell you what ashy means. Ashy means.
Why do you always put on lotion? What's going on? Do you have stock in cocoa butter? Why is it so much around the house?
Yeah, give him 6 months. Joey's will be well versed in what motions is and all that. He understands. They have a kid. He's gonna buy some kinky curly, and he's gonna be good to go.
Well, here's what I liked about what he said too, because he was like, "Look, I want to have kids, so it's gonna be on me too, right?" And so I like the fact he's like, "Look, I'm invested. This is what it is. Race is not an issue." And my family's gonna be down. So I like the fact he really kind of stood 10 toes in it, right? Now, Sean and Tanner, both very disappointed that they didn't get one-on-one dates, but instead they got the 2-on-1, right? Mm-hmm. The thing that kind of threw me, and maybe you could help me understand this. How is Tanner so upset talking about, I have all these feelings for her? What feelings when you haven't had any real time with her anyway?
It's reality TV. That's what this is. Because I agree with you. I'm like, Tanner, you haven't even had a shot.
Yeah. At
all. But why are you feeling all this stuff and acting like that? But I do like the fact that Tanner recognized I'm playing from behind. Mm-hmm. If I want to get into this, I got to step my game up. So I think the date that she had set up for them was great. And I'm all about a swamp tour. I've done swamp tours in New Orleans. They are amazing. I highly recommend it if anybody hasn't gone.
How many dates have you wanted to throw into the swamp?
That's not important. I wouldn't do that to anybody.
Come on, let's go on an adventurous date today.
I wouldn't do that to anybody. All I'm saying is that, swamp tour, it's a fun date. It's something really fun. It's something really fun to do. So yeah. I think it's great. But, when they get on the boat, and again, here's where Tanner's downfall is. He's quiet.
Right.
Sean is very outgoing. Sean is engaging. Tanner's just sitting there. I was like, dude, step up. Say something.
Look, his name is Tanner. Everything's been handed to him on a silver spoon, okay? He's just like, my name's Tanner. I should win this by default. The only way I should lose if there was a Chip or a Brett or a Chad here.
You have something there because I've never met or encountered a Tanner or a Bryce who grew up on the struggle.
Right. Those names are reserved for this class of white man.
Their struggle has been different. We were supposed to go skiing in Colorado, but my dad had to close the deal to buy a condominium, so life sucks.
Boo hoo. Exactly. So that's why he's upset. He's never had to fight for anything. Here he has to go and fight, and Sean is putting in the work. Sean is definitely putting in the work. He's carrying the conversation. The boat captain had his jokes. They're like, so both y'all on the same date with the same woman? So how y'all gonna do that? One at a time for sure.
So they get a chance to enjoy the swamp tour, and then they break out my favorite, the Crawfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a true test because I don't know if I could date somebody who can't get down on some crawfish because they're gonna be like, ew, it's a lot of work for a little meat. Like that'll end a date for me right there. As soon as you say that,
well, I guess you got to get her accustomed to what she's in for the rest of her life, huh?
Yeah, like this is what I'm gonna do. Every fact. Oh, I see what you did there. I forgot you're 12 and we're doing penis. That's what we're doing.
I could not let that pass. Come on, man.
Okay, that's okay. It's fine. So asshole. I like crawfish, so I would love someone that can enjoy that and experience it. But here's what was the trip after they get done.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "Hey, we got to go," and who steps up to get that nasty crawfish kiss? Because I've never kissed somebody after eating crawfish.
That's like after eating raw onions. Now you step up to get that.
Yeah,
and it's not Tanner. Tanner's like, oh my god, I got to go brush my teeth first.
Exactly. Sean was like, "Come in here again. All right, I'll see you later. Come here." He got all that Zatarans and corn, potatoes, all in there. He got in with it. I'm like, that's a good kiss. I mean, she didn't turn it down.
She didn't, but here's the thing about Sean. He did it a number of times, okay? This is where he has stepped up and done what he needs to do, right? He steps up to the plate and hits a home run every time. This is what he did. She's doing her confessional. He doesn't even care. He's like, I'm sorry to interrupt. Excuse me. I just want to say, I had a good time. I'll see you later. And goes in there and gets him a kiss just to go up on Tanner one more time. This may not have played up in his place because he goes to get a kiss of 10, right? This may not have played out in his favor later on, as we'll find out. But I like the move, though. Me
too. I thought the move was great. I'm like, Sean, you go for the throat. You get it. I appreciate it. So now here's where they lost me on this date. So they meet up and go to dinner. They get in. They have the table with 3 chairs. Now, my thought was Charity was going to sit in the middle.
Right.
So she sits at the head of the table. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was Tanner and Sean. And so the food is served. And then Charity says, hey, Tanner, do you mind if we talk?
Get your ass
And I'm
up.
like, so my food's going to get cold while y'all are having conversation? I'd have took my plate with me.
Yes.
I'd have been like a black man, take my plate with me and go sit in front of the TV. Sit there and eat this. There's no way. I'd be so annoyed that my food was sitting there getting cold.
And he had to be annoyed that he didn't get the first conversation anyway, right? And because here she is, wants to get a little deeper with them. I'll be honest, I zoned out during their conversations because it just was like, okay. But you're right. I would have been mad if I'm Tanner and she excused me to, as the food is served. But I'm not surprised she sat at the head of the table.
Well, I just find it odd that, I don't know about you, I hate cold food.
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand it. And when I cook, if I cook for somebody, I time it to where the protein, veggies, which you don't eat, everything is done at the same time. So it's a hot plate. So the fact that, and the food looked good, but then what's his name had to go outside and just sit there with his drink, waiting for them to have their conversation.
Right.
And then they swap. None of them eaten yet. And so if I was Sean in that situation, I would have been like, so look, Charity, I love you, right? I'm good. I'd have been just wolfing some food down as we're talking because I have to eat. But I don't blame Sean for going all in and saying all the things that he said to try to get Charity on his side. But then for Tanner, so here's the deal. I couldn't kiss Charity 15 minutes after I know she kissed Tanner or any other dude. Because that's what happened. She made out with Sean. And then he leaves. Tanner comes in. Tanner goes in for his first kiss, but he had to have known Sean just kissed her. I couldn't do that.
Well, he also knew that Sean gave her that nasty crawfish kiss earlier, too, because he was standing up there like, damn it, why didn't I think of that? Jesus. And I wonder how breath really, how's it taste right now? Because it's got to be, ugh. And so he's over there in the corner sulking after the boat ride in the bayou. And then at dinner, he's like, well, I guess I got to get sloppy seconds again. Come in here, girl.
I don't know. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't kiss somebody knowing that they just kissed someone else. So, but that's why I couldn't be on reality TV. I'm not knocking these folks. I just couldn't do it.
And you never know when you're out with somebody if they've already done that with somebody else that night, but at least you didn't see it and you don't know for sure. Kristen says that they eat before the dates. The food on the dates are just decorative, which I get. And I was wondering that too, right? Because it's bad for TV, the clanking, the food in the teeth, all that's bad, right? So I can understand that. So maybe they did eat before, and that was just there for them to see.
So you saying they didn't eat the crawfish?
Well, the crawfish, she definitely bit the head off and went for the everything else.
I'm just like you didn't eat the crawfish. Like that was not real. See, lies.
Well, maybe what they did after they got the film. All right, y'all jump in this crawfish if you want it.
I don't know. I would have jumped in that crawfish. I'd been down for that.
I know you would have. You would have been first to take. Right, y'all back up. I got this.
Yeah.
So she decides to add a little drama because we knew Sean's getting the rose, Tanner's not. Tanner got the pity kiss. He's gone. But no, she decides nobody gets the rose, and she's just. I'm not gonna give it out right now. Were you surprised?
I was, because I was like, you've not spent any time with Tanner. Did that kiss all of a sudden make you go, ooh, let me think about this?
Right.
No, you're not interested in Tanner. And you got Sean, but you have these other dudes. I'm just like, that was just extra drama, in my opinion. It wasn't necessary.
The next one-on-one date is announced, goes to Dutton, right? Is that how we say his name? And,
Dutton.
And Aaron B is deep in his feelings. Oh my God, he was salty. You're in my hometown, and I don't get to show you around the city because he hasn't figured out yet that Charity's in charge and she's going to do what the hell she wants to do. And you wouldn't get to show around the city. That's for later if you make it past all this, but you're not. So, but he was deep in his feelings.
But that also shows she doesn't feel you like that. She likes you, but she doesn't like you like that. If she did, and you went to New Orleans, your hometown, you'd have got an individual date or one-on-one date. But there's a reason that she didn't do it. And you got to step your game up.
You know, the thing about that, too, is like you realize how salty he was because, Dutton and Charity go to run the Crescent City Classic, and I'm just going to skip forward real quick to when he came back and like, yeah, we ran this half marathon. It's called the Crescent City Classic. He was so salty. Aaron was so salty. It was a Crescent City Classic. Yes, they do it all the time. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know about you. If somebody tries to surprise me with a date to do a marathon, I have a lot of expectations afterwards. A lot of expectations after that date. If you're going to give me whether we run, walk, jog, trot, doesn't matter. There's some things I expect to happen after that date. So kudos to Dutton. Because I was thinking, I'm like, is he just a good adventure buddy? You go bungee jumping. Now you're going to come with me to run 26.2? No. What happened to the
Well, they did 13.1 because it was a half a marathon. But that's still a long. That was 2 hours and 40 minutes of their time going around doing that.
So I've done a half marathon. Sucks. Hate it. I've done it once. I'll never do it again. But I did it, crossed it off my to-do list.
It's very good of you.
But that was just terrible. But they walked, little jog, holding hands the whole time, which I couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And then they got a chance to enjoy the people. And that's one thing that's fun about marathons, half marathons. It's the crowds on the side. And so they come to that group that brings them beers and all that. Because I remember just doing the Capital 10K here in Austin, you get little beer shots. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was cool. But you had that old man that says, I've been married 58 years. Mm-hmm. And Charity is like, what's the secret to marriage? He says, I'll tell you the secret to marriage. It's 2 words. Yes, dear. That dude I can't stand. And we need to stop having dudes saying crap like that. That to say that a successful marriage is you bowing down to your spouse and kissing her ass. No.
We're going to have to bring this up at probably back in the regular episode about the thought, because it feels like you don't like that saying, happy wife, happy life.
I didn't say that. All I said was, you can't tell me the key to 58 years of marriage is just, yes, dear. In other words, whatever she says goes. Mm-hmm. That's BS. Mm-hmm. Because that's almost, okay, think of it this way. 50 years ago, when he got married, his wife didn't have much of a say-so. It was whatever she wanted, whatever he wanted, because he was the man. So I don't like that ideal, and I don't like the fact that a guy is supposed to just say yes, dear, to whatever his wife says. I think those are just crazy things to say. That the key to successful marriage is Yanni, shut your mouth and do whatever she says. That's crap. And I don't like that older. I don't like older couples that give that advice.
They always give that advice. I think it's that's been the advice there for a long time. And it's, to me, almost feels condescending, because especially if that's not what they're saying. But it's that that's not what they're saying behind closed doors. It's a little condescending, right, in that space. So
it is.
I don't know.
It is.
So
it is. That's like. But imagine a woman saying, "What's the key to successful marriage?" to another woman that says, "Do whatever he says, and sleep with him when he wants it, and make him breakfast, do all these subservient things." Well, that's wrong too.
Come off like The Rock. Know your role and shut your mouth. The thing I got from them, and this was one of those fun runs again, which is why they were dressed the way they were. There was a lot of walking and everything, and they got to taste food and actually have conversation. The thing that I got out of it, though, is Dutton is actually really good at adapting to whatever room he's in. That man is a chameleon, and she loved every minute of seeing him hang around, from the old white man who had been married for 58 years to the not so old white man saying that's the best bite of food you ever gonna have in New Orleans, and to everybody else that was around. He is comfortable in all settings, even jumping off a damn bridge when he was scared shitless. So I love that she actually noticed his ability to be a chameleon, because in the real world, you have to be.
Very true. And so I think that Dutton's showing her that he can adapt in any environment. It's not like I can only be myself around black people. Mm-hmm. I can only be myself around white people. Mm-hmm. He can be himself around anybody. And I think that's who Charity is. Right. Is that she can just adapt into any group. So I thought they had a great time. And then, I don't know about you, but after doing 13.1, I don't know if I can give you a kiss after that.
Hopefully they had some mints or some gum somewhere along.
Yeah, I'm just like,
there's beer, there's food,
dry mouth did.
They end up going to dinner, and good conversation for them at dinner as well too. I mean, the thing is, I think their conversation is always pretty deep and touching, and yeah. That's how much I paid attention to it.
I listened to it. I think they had a great date. I think Dutton's family will like Charity, but I wonder if Dutton's family has any traditional cultural traditions that Charity wouldn't be down with. But Charity seems like the type that she'd be down for anything. But I think about one of the other reality shows we saw where the guy was from, I forget what's his name, from Love Is Blind. the wedding that they wanted, and she had to wear all the whole garb and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That might not be her thing, but I thought they had a great date. Now after the
But
date, I'm like,
but wait.
Dutton, why
Well,
not?
the thing about those weddings too, especially I want to say he is Nigerian. I did a Nigerian wedding, right? And one of the things they did in that wedding was they come in first in the tuxedo and the wedding dress, and that's their first entrance. They come
Mm-hmm.
in into the reception, have a good time, party with everybody, leave, and then they come back in traditional outfits, and it's like a dual entrance because you're gonna have these multiple entrances. So it's not like she has to just, all right, I gotta abandon all of my tradition just for strictly for his in that space. So I think there's compromise in there, and that was what it was with this couple that I was doing their wedding, and the fact that one of them was Nigerian and one of them was American. Well, we're gonna
Yeah,
blend both cultures. Let's do it, and it
yeah.
was an amazing thing to watch when, as they're coming in, their second entrance. You just saw all these older women from various tables around the room. Everybody gets up, follows them all, and just basically guides them all the way up to the dance floor. And then as soon as they get there, they all just back to their own places. It was,
Yeah.
and it was just something very traditional and very personal to their culture. So it
Yeah,
can work. So
I believe it. So Dotton comes back from the date, and my mind is, if I come back from the date, I'm gonna go straight to bed. I don't need to sit there with the guys and tell them
yeah,
everything that happened. I'm just gonna go straight to bed and mind my business. And then you have Sean that comes off way too needy and emotional, and I think he feels like he's the shit. And why would she not think he's great? Almost a little psycho in my feeling, in my thought.
yeah. The fact that he's like, well, if Dutton comes back with Rose, I'm gonna be really mad. And right on cue, ding ding, here comes Dotton with the rose. And as he's telling them the date and going through stuff, then all of a sudden just gets out, walked out. And he again, all in his feelings, so much so. I want to say, was it Xavier who's like, I hope he doesn't do anything stupid. And then right on
And what does
cue,
he do?
he goes to go
What
see
does he
Charity.
do?
But hey, it's taken, every time he's taken the initiative, it's worked out in his favor. Third time was not a charm. He goes, knocks on her door, and she quietly has this conversation with him that you knew was happening. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I think that was a swing and a miss on his part. He shouldn't have did that. Charity looked annoyed the fact that he came and he's pouring his feelings out. Compared to connecting, she just looked more like bothered by it. And here's something that everyone has to realize, especially guys and ladies. When you tell someone you are in the process of falling in love with him and they just say, "Oh, thank you,"
Mm-hmm.
it's not going well.
And that's that's the problem. He said it the first time, and then as she's just giving these, thank you, these very generic answers, not really saying what he wants to hear. So he feels if I say more, she'll finally come around and say what I want to hear. And as you said, the more he kept talking, is the more annoyed she got, and you could see it. And then she just finally like hit him with a Matt James. Can I walk you out?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and walk you out. I'm like, stop all that crying. Just walk her out. And Keedy, welcome to the party. And Keedy says, I know I'm late, but I'm wondering how many dates I've ever wanted to dump at Just Turtle off in the swamp. Love you at Just Turtle. So I haven't taken dates to the swamp. I just went to the swamp. That's all I was saying. And is there anyone in my past that probably wish they could have dumped me off into a thing of alligators? Probably. It's possible. Depends on what I said. And we have to do a segment one day about bad things we've said on dates that didn't go well. Because I've said some things where I'm like, ooh, yeah, that was probably a bad idea.
I'm sure you have.
It happens.
So Sean gets eliminated, walked out. So he's gone, and then she's still holding on to these roses. I mean, even after, right? Because she gets the remaining guys together, Aaron and Xavier. And
Xavier Tanner.
They never really, but Xavier and Aaron never get a date. Mm-hmm. It's just them supposed to go, and she has the three of them. And now we're down to our final four because she finally gives out those last two roses, and now we're down to our final four. We knew Tanner was going to be out. That was going to happen. That was no even question.
So, am I the only one that sees this? But Charity's nonverbals, when she communicates, when she's listening to somebody, she seems so not interested in the conversation. Mm-hmm. Just when she's just like, yeah. It seems very fake that she just doesn't care about what you're talking about. And I don't think that's her intent, but that's just what her body shows on camera. Like, she could care less what these guys are saying. Am I the only one that sees that?
No, because not only that, it's almost like she's rushing them through the conversation as they're saying things. She's like, yeah, and it's, there's a difference between the but she's like, yeah, okay, like rushing you, get done. I don't want to hear anymore.
Are we making out or not? Like, what are we doing?
Like, think about it. She eliminated Tanner and Sean and was like, yeah, give me that tongue first.
Yeah, she's the whole time they're talking, they're sitting there pouring their hearts out. She's just like, what that mouth do? So Xavier, when he has his little one-on-one time with her, I feel like Xavier said the thing that you never should say. Men, listen to this. The one guy that listens to the podcast, men never say this. Xavier said committing to someone forever scares him. No one wants to hear that. Ever. Never tell someone you are scared of commitment. Just tell your boys, be like, hey, I met someone really great. I'm super scared of commitment, but she's awesome. But never tell her that, especially someone like a Charity who in her last relationship was cheated on multiple times by somebody who was scared of commitment.
Well, you got to understand that man felt he was being vulnerable in that moment by telling her what he was scared of. The thing that he does not know is that he reminds her of her ex, whether it's looks, behavior, all of the above. And all he did was confirm her fears. That's all he did.
Yeah, and I think so. To your point, this is my issue with Xavier, and I don't trust him. I feel like Xavier's running game because in his effort to be vulnerable, he says that I'm scared of commitment and all that stuff, which I think is BS. I just think that you're a player, and though you're a scientist and you care about your family and it's all admirable, and you knit, that's your game. Like, that's your game to get somebody like, hey, I made you a scarf. I know it's getting cold out. Just want you to know I'm thinking about you. He probably has boxes of scarves he's knitted and just hands them out like candy.
Then the next thing he knits is their name across the bottom.
Yeah.
Kristen says, do you think he was trying to make her feel insecure to get power in their relationship since she inherently has the power on the show?
That's deep.
I don't know. I can't say that I don't think that he would think that far because he is definitely an intellectual. But at the same time, I don't see why he would think that would give him the power because she did what? Did she do a one-on-one with him yet? But she did a one-on-one with Xavier.
She did,
right?
She did. Cause they went to like the farmer's market and all that stuff.
Right. So she did that, but she's been on 2 one-on-ones with Dutton, 2 one-on-ones with Joey. And maybe this is his way of trying to stand out. Because right now, everybody's got first of all, we got down to 6 people really fast. When it opened and it said, we're down to 6, I'm like, huh? Yeah. Already? Like, I knew they said they were speeding through the season, but damn, this is fast. And, as they're down to the final 4, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next week because Joey, Dutton, Xavier, and Aaron B. Who's the next one to get eliminated?
I think Aaron will be next. I think Aaron will be next. I feel like Xavier's gonna make it far because he reminds her of her ex. But if I were to give my prediction now, if that's okay,
go ahead. Okay, yeah,
I think she's gonna pick Dutton.
I feel Dutton is the guy too. They are a good package, and they look well together. They interact well together. I disagree with you. I think Xavier's the next one to go because she hasn't seen Aaron's crying and bitching that he hasn't gotten his one-on-one. She hasn't seen that yet. And she doesn't have any more tattletales in the house to tell her that somebody in the house is crying and saying all these things. So Xavier, if he reminds her so much of her ex, yeah, she brought him to the Final Four, but that scared of commitment thing probably is weighing on her mind. Aaron's gonna have to bring his A game now that he's out of New Orleans. He doesn't have the home field advantage anymore. So this is gonna be part of I think where he gets to step his game up.
Could be. I think Aaron's gonna fall out. Xavier's gonna hang in there just because he's Xavier. He has game.
And Joey's gonna be there at the end because they're not gonna leave 3 black guys on the show. Plain and simple.
Well, that's why I think it'll be down to Joey and Dutton.
Yes.
Will be the final 2.
Yes.
And she's going to pick Dutton.
Yeah. Indeed.
That's my thought. But Aaron, I think he'll be out next week. Xavier the week after. Then what is it? How do they do this? Well, you probably don't know because you've not watched it.
You're right. Exactly.
I'm assuming it's like 2 weeks of the final whatever. I don't know.
I don't think they drag it out like Married at First Sight does, to be quite honest. So, I mean, it's been think about it. It's been a year since we actually did this show format because that was the Bachelor that kicked it all off with Matt James for us. And when that show ended, so did my memory of that show.
I know we blocked it out so long ago. We're like, okay, that was a chapter in our lives that we closed.
Like a woman after a breakup. I don't remember anything before
Don't
this
remember
time.
anything of that. That was a chapter we closed.
Look, I like the fact they're moving through this one pretty fast. But, here we are, Final Four. Interesting to see. You've got your predictions. I think we have the same finale in mind. If it came down to a final 2, if that's what it comes down to, you and I have the same 2. We just have a difference in opinion in who goes first, whether it's Xavier or Aaron B. We'll see who's right next week, right?
We will. Mm-hmm. And next week, are we regular schedule because of next week's travel?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. We will see what happens next week. I predict Aaron's going to get the boot. Mm-hmm. And so let's see if I'm right. Comment, please, if you're...
Let's see if you're wrong.
No, we're going to see if I'm right. So comment in the chat, as well as those that might listen to this after the live. Put in the comments. Tell us who you think out of the 4, who's going to get booted next, and who do you think she's going to say yes to?
Now, N says when it gets down to 3, thank you for this, because obviously, as you can tell, this is not our regular show that we like to watch. And he says when it gets down to 3, they will have fantasy suites, a.k.a. the overnights, and meet her parents. So hometowns is to meet their families, and then they get to meet her parents. So this is interesting because we talked about this. It gets down to the overnight suites. Is she going to do like The Bachelor and try to knock all 3 of them down then?
Maybe that's what she needs to help her say yes. I got to see what they're working with. Who knows?
Yeah. And Kendra's with me. Xavier's out of here.
Aaron. But that's okay.
Look, especially if she plans to knock them down in the overnight suites, she can't have Xavier there because if he reminds her of the ex, that might draw her right back in.
Right.
So
I think because he reminds her of the ex, Xavier's got to last a little longer than Aaron.
Trace World 2 has an interesting comment. Obviously, the season is rushed, but I would like to know why it is both that being rushed and cheap. I mean, they haven't even left the United States. I guess they figured, we got a lot of black people on this. Maybe they just don't have their passports.
Let's look at the economy. There's a writer's strike. There's all these things going on. Companies doing layoffs. Maybe they just had to cut back on some expenses.
Oh, you cut back on the black season. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Go what you will.
And one correction, only the final 2 meet her parents. Okay. Well, they already met the brother, so, he's got to show back up because I thought we'd see him more throughout the season other than just the first time. But, I think they've done a good job of keeping him out of there, and we'll see him one more time. So
yeah, we'll see him again at the end.
We'll see how this thing plays out. Next Tuesday, we'll be right back here for the Bachelorette season 20, episode 6, Hometowns. And of course, Monday, look out for regular episode 135. Let's see if Terrell has another apology. If you haven't seen that one, go back and take a look at it. He had to apologize. Terrell doesn't apologize very often, or very rarely ever. So
true. Facts.
Hey, I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the regular show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.